Today we are going to talk about how to find the angle between vectors. And to find the angle between two vectors, what we mean by that is visually when you have two vectors, as an example like this, where the initial points meet. This is the angle that we are looking for right there, not the other way, but a smaller angle between the two vectors is what we are looking for. So, as an example, let me give you two vectors, which we'll call vector u, pointing towards the first quadrant by putting two positive numbers like 4 and 3, and vector v, we'll try to make point to the fourth quadrant, as an example like 2, -5. Now that we have two vectors, one pointing at the first and one pointing at the fourth, there definitely should be an angle between them, and we are going to find it by using this formula right here. Cosine of theta equals the dot product of u and v divided by the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v. That's the formula that we're going to use to find the angle between vectors. And the first thing we gotta figure out is the dot product between vector u and vector v. The dot product just means you take the two vectors, look at their x's, the 4 and the 2, you're going to multiply them, and now look at the y's for each vector, and you're going to multiply them as well. After you multiply those two things, you're going to add them, and therefore we have 8 plus a -15, which simplifies to -7. So we have figured out the top portion of this divide sign of this fraction, and now we're going to figure out the bottom part individually by focusing on figuring out what is the magnitude of vector u. The magnitude of vector u, we just need to do the Pythagorean theorem, if you remember. And the Pythagorean theorem for this is just going to be 4 square plus 3 square, and then we're going to add them together and take the square root, and we end up with the square root of 16 plus 9, which is the square root of 25, which is 5. We're going to repeat the process, but this time for the vector v. The magnitude of vector v is the square root of 2 square plus -5 square, and that's going to give us the square root of 4 plus 25, which is the square root of 29. Now we're going to take all of those answers and plug it in. So we now have cosine of theta equals the dot product, which is -7, divided by the magnitude of u, which is the square root of 25, and the magnitude of v, which is the square root of 29. To get the angle by itself, we have to do the arc cosine of this fraction, and we just need to put it correctly in the calculator, and we will be done, and we will know what is the angle between the two vectors. So here is the calculator. Make sure the calculator is in degree mode. Let me put it right here. And refocus. Alright, so make sure the calculator is in degree mode, which it is. I'm going to do arc cosine of -7 divided by, now here's where some of you make a mistake. You're going to make sure that you put parentheses around the whole denominator, or else you'll get the incorrect answer. So I can put parentheses before I do the square root of 25, close the parentheses, square root of 29, close the parentheses, and one more close parentheses to close that opening parenthesis right there, so that the whole bottom is inside the parentheses, and one more close parentheses for the first opening parentheses for arc cosine, and press enter. And as you can see, there's our answer right there, which is 105.068 degrees. And we are done. That is how you find the angle between two vectors.